says nobody knows their neighbors anymore?
From vineyards to small town charm, we're going to take you guys on a driving tour through West Linn. Let's go. My name's Aaron Cullen, this is Brianna Cullen, and together we have a real estate company right here in Portland, Oregon. Now today we're going on a driving tour through West Linn. Yes, West Linn. Now if you've never been here, or maybe you've only been here once or twice, you might pick up a couple of places that you've never been before, because we're actually gonna get in the car, we're gonna film, we're gonna talk, and we're gonna show you guys some of our favorite places around West Linn.
Honestly, just driving through West Linn is a treat. Sometimes I go out of my way so that I can take some of these country roads because it is so gorgeous. So I'm excited for you to see. Let's get in the car.
Let's go. Oh wait, we're already at the first place. Hey, let's flip the camera around. Hey, here we are at the gates of Tumwater Vineyards. Now, this place is one of my favorite vineyards that's local here to Portland. You don't have to drive that far.
No, it's delicious. I think we first found this vineyard at the Lake Oswego Farmers Market. They had a booth and wine tasting, and we were shocked by how good their Oregon Chardonnay was. And then we got to come to an event out here a little while after that, and the property is absolutely gorgeous. This is a winery that has memberships. We had some friends over a couple weeks ago and they brought us a bottle of Tumwater. I'm always excited to see that label, and it's just so picturesque out here. It's you know, wineries, wine country has that particular aesthetic to it, and this definitely fits that bill. It's just beautiful, the lifestyle, the just sort of slow living beauty.
Yeah. And the property is gorgeous. Here, I've got a little bit of B-roll from when we actually went. I've got some shots that I took a couple of years ago when we were there for an event. And right next to it is a gated Tumwater Estates community right here. And so if I flip it right around, here's some amazing houses like right here behind us. And these houses are just gorgeous, all custom. So if you guys are looking for a custom, beautiful house in the countryside, and actually know someone who might be listing soon, so reach out if this is the type of home you might be looking for. All right, where are we going next?
The Oregon Golf Club.
All right, let's go. As you can see, it's very close to the Tumwater Vineyard.
We're so lucky. It's a beautiful day the week before Thanksgiving, and it's been very wet and cold, but we have this like sunshiny, crisp fall day for this driving tour. One of the beautiful things about West Linn is that there's some higher elevation, and so you get these long sweeping views. We're actually up on top of a hill right now. This is Pete's Mountain Road. Pete's Mountain is another popular winery out here in West Linn.
We're driving over to the Oregon Golf Club. Now, I know several people that are members there, and they absolutely love it. It's very convenient, especially if you live in West Linn. Now, it's way more affordable than, say, the Lake Oswego Golf Club, which is known to be very expensive, and the Oregon Golf Club is definitely not as expensive as that. Now, this is an 18-hole golf course. It's known for its picturesque views. I mean, you're high up, you know, in the hillside here. So some of those fairways have just some breathtaking views. You can go online, visit the website, and you can see a bunch of the pictures people have taken. It does look like a really cool golf club.
One thing just to mention too is we're actually going by the Oregon Equestrian Center. So out here with these bigger properties, a lot of people do have room for horses, and this is where I know there are horseback riding camps in the summertime. And you know, for people that are moving from a city and looking for that type of property with some acreage, more space, I think West Linn could be such a great fit.
We helped a client buy in this area that's also considered part of Stafford in West Linn, and he just absolutely loves the property. You know, it's a 5-acre property, which you'll get on a lot of these homes here that are going to have, you know, right around that 5 acres is kind of that sweet spot. And you can definitely get homes with a little bit less as you get closer into, say, historic Willamette. And if I spin this camera around here, you can see just what a different, some of these really cool properties that you can get back here. So you're definitely way back off the main roads.
We moved to Oregon from Topanga Canyon in the LA area several years ago, and the first time I drove through here, it gave me a little bit of that Topanga feeling with these remote homes surrounded by forest, but at the same time, you're so close to all the city amenities that you need. It's very unique living in that way.
Yeah, it really is. So if you're looking for that countryside feeling, West Linn definitely has you covered. This is one of the gorgeous things I love about West Linn. I think most people that are just kind of learning about it online don't really see this side of West Linn. You've just got these, of course, they're going to be more money. You're typically going to be starting, say, $1.5 million, on up from there. But a lot of the properties are going to be more in that lower 2 million range if you want like 5 acres.
And that's specific to these bigger properties out here in the countryside. But in terms of West Linn in general, as we get into town and into some of those neighborhoods.
Yeah, the median price point that you're going to be looking at is about $840,000. So it's much less than Lake Oswego's right now is about $1.4 million, which is quite a bit more. I mean, you're almost twice as much, which is really crazy.
And I think they're so comparable in many ways when you think of people who are looking to move to raise a family and have kids of school age. Both school districts are top rated in the state, and the communities really have a lot in common. So for that price differential, it's really worth checking out West Linn.
And that's why we get taking you guys on this driving tour, just to unlock a little bit of West Linn so you guys kind of explore it and see if you feel like it might be a good fit. So if you've never been here, when you come out here, definitely come reach out to me so I can show you a few different homes and some different neighborhoods. And hopefully this gives you just a good little idea. Let's talk a little bit about the Willamette Falls, and we're gonna throw up a little bit of B-roll footage so you can see it better from the sky because you can't really drive past it. The Willamette Falls is an amazing, like giant horseshoe shaped natural waterfalls. And over the last 100 years, it used to be native, a very like sacred, popular Native American landmark. And then in the early 1900s, there's a bunch of mills that have been built there to harness that water power. Now, that property is still owned by the Native American tribes, and there's actually a really cool project that's in the works right now. They're going to be basically dismantling the use of those mills, and they're going to make this really cool like mixed use project there, so people will be able to get a little bit closer to the falls. This is a really cool project. I'll bring up here a couple of the plans so you can see, but I've heard they are going to have plans for a casino, which I'm not a big gambling person, but with that they're also going to have shopping and conservation areas so you can really view the falls a little bit more up close and walking trails around there. Plus, I believe they're going to have some condos in there as well.
So one thing you might be picking up if there is a giant waterfall here in West Linn is that there's also a river. The Willamette River runs around West Linn, and so there are also riverfront homes here in West Linn, as well as just a lot of access to the water sports, just nature in general here in West Linn that the Willamette River brings.
And you can see here on the map that the Willamette River wraps around the south end of West Linn and then goes up the east end of West Linn. And it just really makes for some picturesque views all around West Linn. A lot of the homes are on hilly areas. You're going to have this breathtaking views. A lot of them will even have, if you're looking to the east of Mount Hood, which is beautiful. Actually, today we can see it really clearly. They've just gotten a bunch of snow up over on Mount Hood.
In addition to the Willamette River, West Linn is bordered by Oregon City on the other side of the river, and then Lake Oswego to the north and a little bit to the west, and then also Wilsonville to the west and the south, just to give you an orientation of where West Linn is. And then also the 205 freeway is your general access from West Linn into, those other communities and then around into Portland.
If you keep taking it, it'll take you right over to the Portland International Airport. So 205's really easy highway access from West Linn. You can also hop on the 43, which goes right up north through Lake Oswego and right into downtown if you want to go that route as well. So you can see the other side of West Linn over there. You can see little slivers of the Willamette River through there in Oregon City on the other side of the hill. There's the Willamette right there.
We're crossing over the Tualatin River that flows into the Willamette.
And then here's the Willamette Park. We take our kids here quite a bit on several occasions. They have really cool playground in there.
And then you can walk down to the river. There's boat ramps down there.
Just a very cool classic park that they have down there. And then a very short walk, just a couple blocks up here, is the main street for historic Willamette, the downtown area.
So this neighborhood is full of older homes right here in the historic center of town.
Here's the elementary school that they have right here, the Willamette Primary. If you like older homes, and you can get some newer homes in here as well, this could be a good fit for you.
With access to everything that Old Town Willamette has. So there's coffee shops down here, restaurants. I was down here last Sunday because our daughter was at a birthday party at a little art studio down here. And it was so perfect because I dropped her off at the art studio and then I just crossed the street to Lark Cafe and worked from in there, a great little coffee shop for a couple of hours, and then came back across to pick her up. It just feels very local and charming down here. We come down to this main street quite a bit to either to go out to eat, or they have a number of festivals down here. They have a great St. Patrick's Day event. There's the old favorite ale and cider house right over here on the right that we've met friends at, and then the Willamette Garage, which has a handful of food trucks and then a pub that are all kind of gathered together. It's a great gathering place on a warm summer day, but also, sometimes it's fun to go eat outside and kind of be cold, but also cozy. They have some fire tables and you just kind of bundle up and then eat outside in the winter.
Yep, there's the Willamette Garage with all the food trucks. So it's basically like, we'll see a lot of those here with like a food truck pod, but it doesn't move anywhere.
Portland has a number of great food truck pods where, they're basically in a permanent location. And it's a fun place to go out to eat because everyone can pick what they want. If you feel like Mexican and, someone else wants a burger or Thai food or really unique, special food, which Portland is known for, those food truck pods are perfect.
And we're driving through part of the neighborhood for Willamette right here. And so again, this is like a really cute area. I've helped a couple different clients buy in this area and they absolutely love it. The key thing is its walkability. You've got all those shops right there that are walkable. You've got the Willamette Park right there. You've got the river. They have a boat launch there if you want to put in a kayak, an actual boat, whatever. So that's one of the really cool aspects about this neighborhood. The price point here is a lot more affordable than, say, places like Lake Oswego that it's right next to, but it still has a lot of that charm that you might get, that small town feeling like in Lake Oswego. But here you can get homes starting in the $650,000 range, here in the historic neighborhood, with your average home in here probably being around more of that like 750 range.
When we first moved here several years ago, I don't think that I appreciated everything that West Linn has going for it. I think, we've done videos in the past about West Linn and the pros and cons, and we've helped some clients move here who just absolutely love it, who relocated from, the East Coast and Phoenix, Arizona, and all over, and they're crazy about West Linn. And I don't know if I really appreciated it. As we're driving through today, there's just so much to enjoy and love with daily life here. I'm someone who, like, the natural beauty, the aesthetics of the homes and the valley and the rolling hills, like, that means so much to me. I feel like I have a bigger crush on West Linn now than I used to.
Okay, well, hey, there you go. Here's some of the key neighborhoods in West Linn. We've got the Willamette neighborhood, which we just drove through. We've got the Stafford Hamlet, which is the countryside, lots of homes with 5 acres. You've got Bolton, you've got the Sunset neighborhood, and you've got Robinwood. Now those are just a few of the key neighborhoods in West Linn, and we're driving through right now to go. We're actually going to take you guys by an area where they're doing a few new builds that are right in that range, starting at about $900,000 going up to about $1.3 million for brand new construction. And these are 3 bedrooms at the smaller price point of around 900, on up to 5-bedroom homes, at the $1 million price point and up to the $1.3 million price point. So if you guys are interested in new construction and that price point sounds like something that might be interesting to you, go ahead and reach out. My information's right down there in the description area, and I can kind of walk you through some of those different builders that are building out here right now. Because there's no giant developments, there's no master plan communities here in West Linn. It's a bunch of smaller builders, but they do have a couple of regional builders like David Weekley that has a small project going on here. And they'll typically, they might build 4 or 5 homes, or they might build maybe 24 homes at the most. Typically it'll be one street that they'll get a parcel and kind of build out. But there is constantly always some new builds going on, right around that $1 million plus and minus price point. So if you like new construction, I think West Linn is a really good option, especially if you want to take advantage of the top-rated school systems and the low crime and the small town feel.
If you're looking for more of that master planned new build feeling, then West Linn's neighbor Wilsonville would probably be a good fit. So that's also something to consider.
And Wilsonville shares the same school system, so you're going to have, again, top rated in that top 3, rated school districts in the state, if that's something that's a priority for you. And their price points for their new builds, you can get in there starting at about $700,000.
So this is a pretty classic West Linn neighborhood. The homes were built probably in the early 2000s.
Yeah, a lot of them, it's kind of hard to see from here, but you're gonna have views right out that way. You might be able to see here as we cross the street. You're gonna have a lot of views on a lot of these homes because it's very hilly up here. This is just a classic, newer-ish built neighborhood, built in the 2000s. This is one of the bigger developments they have right over here that we're passing in front of. Now this is some homes that they built. They still actually have a couple that were coming on the market recently. And all these homes in this little development, you can see there's not a lot of trees here. So you're gonna get, this is an example of a brand new type of build. And those are right in that $1 million price point as well.
And you can see these residential areas, or this area is much more residential as compared to the more old town historic area where you have a little more walkability. But that being said, here we're coming up on a Starbucks. There are shopping centers and restaurants kind of peppered through the West Linn neighborhoods.
So that's a perfect example of one of the local little shopping areas that you have here. And like Brandon was saying, these are more typical of what you're going to kind of see throughout West Linn in these little pockets of the housing area. The historic Willamette, where you get a lot of homes built from the 1920s up to new builds now mixed in there. It's kind of a unique spot, whereas most of West Linn is going to be more like this type of neighborhoods that was built out in the 90s and the 2000s and even now. If you're wanting all those things like a highly rated school system, very low crime, very safe, very quiet, but you're still pretty close to Portland. You're a little bit further out. And here we are, we're passing by the Rosemont Ridge Middle School. That's right over here. And here I'll throw up some drone footage so you guys can see up in the sky so you can get a little better view of it.
And one of the things that I really love about West Linn and similar to Lake Oswego is that it's not just a suburb. So nothing wrong with suburbs, but I think what people picture is, kind of residential areas with some shopping centers thrown in. The thing about West Linn is that it is a small town. So it has those, but it also has that core city center, downtown feeling, like a gathering place, that small town feeling that creates just a different gravity to it than your average suburb.
You know, if you want to compare, say, like West Linn to Beaverton, Beaverton is much larger as far as population. It's over 100,000 people in Beaverton. And so West Linn is much smaller. Yeah, West Linn, as you can see, as we're driving through these neighborhoods, just has way more, I feel like, of a lot more space in between a lot of the homes, even though you do get new homes with, you know, smaller lots, but they still, in general, I feel more spaced out and a little bit more variety than you would get in Beaverton. And Beaverton in general is going to be a little bit more closer together in their homes, but of course it comes with the price point as well.
And Beaverton too is a small town that can be somewhat self-contained, and I was thinking more of some of the suburbs in, you know, the southwest, northwest of Portland, where that little area itself doesn't necessarily have everything that you need right there within it.
Now we're on our route to the West Linn High School, and you can see some of these views. The hills that you're seeing on the other side is across the Willamette River, and we're really at the top of the elevation here, and we're heading down towards the West Linn High School. West Linn has one high school here. It's a newer-ish high school. It's huge. All kinds of great amenities to this high school that you're going to get in a newer high school.
Yeah, they have a beautiful performing arts center. Our daughter had her annual ballet recital here a couple of years ago, so we got to see inside the high school. And we also are lucky that we know a number of West Linn High School students, because many of them work at the athletic club that we are members of. So one of our own babysitters goes to West Linn High School. She was actually just the homecoming queen here. And I will say that it's like the nicest bunch of teenagers that we know that go to this high school.
And let me point out here that we're driving by on my side is the Wilderness Park that's right here. And this is the neighborhood that we're in, is called Bolton, that has the high school. But this Wilderness Park is really cool. You know, it's all protected. It's a protected park. And like the name, it's just very kind of wild, forested. But there's different trails that kind of cut through it. And then at the very top end, there's a playground very at the other side of it. So let me just flip the camera around here, and you can see as we're coming down towards the high school, we're passing by here first the football field that they have here. That's right behind the high school. There's a football field with a track, and then here's the back of the high school. You can see it's a very, very large high school. We'll drive you around the front of it. And there's the Performing Arts Center right there. All right, now we're gonna take you over to the 43 and then take you up north towards Lake Oswego. Now, some of the things we're gonna pass by here, the 43 on this route of West Linn is very commercial. You're gonna get all of your like Starbucks and restaurants. Here's one of the commercial districts along the 43. Yep, sushi, sport clips, banks, wine bars, credit unions, chiropractor, pretty much anything you could want.
That's actually where I get my hair cut, if you didn't know, honey.
I did not know that. Here's another park. I've taken our kids over here before. This is a cute little park. And then right on the other side through that neighborhood, just a couple blocks in there, is the Willamette River. So you have access back in that neighborhood to the river as well. And that's one of the things I really like about West Linn, is there's a lot of river access all throughout West Linn. And I feel like that's what's kind of lacking in Lake Oswego, is that there's not a lot of access. You know, there is, you know, one good access point to the river, but here there's many access points to the river. They're just surrounded by more of it.
So we have a few more things to show you, but just as we get closer to the end of this driving tour, one of the things I wanted to mention is that West Linn is a place that people grow up and then move away and then come back to. So we know a number of people who, you know, grew up here and then went off to college or for job opportunities. And then once they reached the stage of starting their own family, having kids, they realized that West Linn was really where they wanted to do that because of all of the like friendliness and charm and small town feel that just feels very wholesome at that stage of life. We also have a client who moved to West Linn a few years ago, and we were at a backyard party at their house this summer. And I think we were the only people there that weren't their neighbors, who have all become just their absolute best friends. And that really does that's just so representative of the West Linn feeling.
Yeah, it definitely has that friendly, family-friendly vibe. Oh, let me spin it around here. We got the Mary S. Young Park. It's 128 acres, tons of trails through here, picnic spots, access to the Willamette River, and they've also got a lot of sports fields out there. And our son was actually playing soccer here in the spring, and I was one of the coaches on his team, and that was just a lot of fun. You know, he was 3 years old at the time. That's just kind of like a special time where I feel like I'm qualified enough to coach 3-year-olds, and wasn't really coaching on skill. It was more emotional coach at that age. It's enough just to get them on the field to play, which actually is harder than you might think. Well, these are some of the key points in West Linn. I hope you guys have found value in this video. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and reach out. My information's right down there in the description area. If you're thinking about buying or selling anytime soon, I'd love to talk to you. And again, I'm an open book, so just go ahead and reach out. If you guys enjoyed this video and found value in it, stay tuned for the next one coming up right now.